Here. So, unless we understand the depths of the diabolism that we've all been subjected to for decades, we're not going to be empowered to overcome these people of our own mechanisms, our own devices. We've got to tap into literally the power of God and to change ourselves first. Yes, we need to wake up. We need to be out of confusion, out of Babylon, to be out of ignorance, and to be empowered with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And the thing is, for a lot of people, they can be accidentally, inadvertently evil and not know it because they have the wrong opinion about things. They haven't really asked God for guidance and truth regarding their opinion on a given subject. And it's reflected in the way things have gone downhill in this country for decades and decades. Okay, and how it goes against everything that Americans stand for, primarily freedom. I mean, we understand this is an absolute quality. We want to be totally free. We as Americans know it's a constitutional right, a God-given right to pursue happiness. And when we realize, and we do, human beings are very smart creatures, that there's a whole lot of components, a lot of ingredients, a lot of facets to our happiness that we need to acquire. Okay, and we understand that money is one of those things because prosperity is measured in terms of money in this current realm that is run by evil grand puppeteers. For in all intents and purposes, this is Satan. And this critical mass, it can be a tiny percentage of a fraction of a percentage, however you want to see it. Okay, but it can be a tiny, tiny amount to get the job done, because that's all a critical mass is. It's the amount needed to get the job done. And that's what we've got going on here because of the influence that money has on our mindset as human beings. It's super powerful. You've got to really understand just how powerful. Do we? Do we really understand how it affects your neighbors? How it affects all of us? What we do day in and day out, how we think day in and day out, our paradigm, our reality. I'm telling you, it's manipulated up one side and down the other. But how many people really understand the relevance and how important it is in this fighting the good fight to get out from under the thumb of these evil grand puppeteers, these money masters of utter misery, murder, mayhem, everything evil under the sun, where they don't value their conscience, their integrity, their reputation, their soul. They are given over to these things. And they don't want peace on earth. They don't want universal prosperity. They want to cull the population, thin the herd. This is where these people are coming from. They want more poverty. And what is the context? What is the pretext? What is the predicate for a lot of these people are the super uber environmentalist types, and they're huge fat hypocrites. Look what example they're setting. They're flying their jets around telling us we got to have a smaller footprint when most people can't even afford to drive their car and heat their home or cool their home. And we got to listen. These are the preachers, the Antichrist. I mean, yeah, there's many Antichrists that are working against the true Christ. What is that? But they won't not they completely zip lip when it comes to talking about disruptive technologies. Let's talk about Stan Meyer and his water car. Let's talk about JFK, what he was doing, how he was bringing prosperity. But no, these people, they want poverty. They want the vast majority of people so poor they lose their will to live, basically. When things get too tough, and that's what they're doing. They just keep beating on us. They keep on just blow after blow. They're inducing us to be evil and to turn on each other and blame each other and just accept the dog eat dog reality, rat race, social Darwinism, devour one another, state of affairs, and just let it get worse and worse and worse. And maybe we'll start a war. Maybe we'll start killing immigrants, and then people will have Antifa will rise up, and all the other groups out there, the patriot groups so called, and they're all going to fight. I mean, it's just insane what these people, their minds are just desperate at this point in history, is the way I see it. Because they see the writing on the wall that the days are numbered for this age, okay, the establishmentarian age, okay, the establishmentarian age of misery. People are going to start understanding that they're being deliberately kept poor, that it's easy. There's no, I mean, you could just literally give people money, okay, and people say, oh, well, that would cause inflation or that would create lazy people. Look, we need checks and balances. We need oversight. We need accountability. By who? By none less than the only legitimate government. That's we the people. So we have to have the say-so in the direction our country takes, the destiny, okay, for sound economic policies, sound currency, to demand progress, true progress relative to supply and demand, free market, competition, risk, all those things that embody true capitalism. That's what it is. And progress relative to that, of course, leads to universal prosperity. And I've explained how that happens over and over again. It's not hard to understand. Compare the man hours it takes to build a simple home today, just the basics, and then compare that to 200 years ago. And why does it take so fewer man hours today? Okay, because of state-of-the-art tools and equipment implements. You understand? Heavy equipment, all that stuff, transportation, everything is so much easier. So it takes a lot less time to build a basic home. So under supply and demand, free market capitalism, progress dictates, if you just leave it alone, so it's organic, it's happening naturally and automatically, your currency goes up relative to buying a home because homes get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper as it gets easier and easier and easier to make them. We literally now have machines that can make the homes. So if anybody is wondering if I know what the hell I'm talking about, just consider the fact that a child that's being intellectually honest can literally understand these things I'm saying. It's not hard to understand why your currency is supposed to go up in worth. Okay, that's progress. That's what happens naturally if you let it happen. And so there's deliberate forces that are intent on keeping people poor. So it's imposed austerity. That's what's going on here. And the rhyme and the reason, they've already got their excuse up their sleeve, is that, hey, it's to save the planet. So they come off like the altruistic ones, right? By making people poor, you understand they could burn less energy. And so, they're saving the planet. Don't worry about what I'm doing. The example I'm setting. Yeah, I'm an elitist. I believe that there's a chosen handful of people that are just holier and more entitled, that have this exclusive privilege that should run the world. And, we're the most intellectual ones. We've got the highest learning and college degrees and all this stuff. So, just accept it. Just, accept your destiny. If you could pull a rabbit out of the hat, you live in the land of opportunity. So what are you bitching about? You live in a capitalist society. They call it capitalist still. People that don't understand, like Alex Jones, free market. Let's bring up 2008, Alex Jones. Come on, man. Was that free market? Come on, talk about it. Talk about the implications of revisiting it and really having the market correction we should have had according to true capitalist principles. Okay, let's talk about that. Get G. Edward Griffin back on the show. Ask him that question. Are you ready for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, you would have seen housing prices plummet. Okay, so I hope I've been making some valid points, but people will really sink their teeth into it and say, I get it. I get how ruthlessly diabolical these people, how they act by subterfuge and sneakily, cunningly, and stealthily, and everything underhanded, clandestinely. And this is how they've duped us. This is how they've steered us in a totally wrong direction, a really bad direction of division in this country. Okay? And we're in a lot of trouble. The good liberals and good Republicans, they're out there thinking, well, just be like us, and you fight for what you believe, and our side is the good guys, and somehow we're gonna, even though we know it's been like a tennis match every time, one president comes in and does some stuff, the other president comes in and undoes it. Come on, folks. We need God's help. There's just no way. So foundationally, fundamentally, we have to understand that the only way we're going to succeed to extricate ourselves from this muck and mire, this New World Order establishment, and this trajectory of death and destruction and increasing wealth disparity and poverty and just desperation and the fear that they're inducing. Do you understand that this is going to end really bad for people? And the sooner we wake up to it, the better. That we accept that fact that, hey, if we could stop it today, we should, because a lot of people have already died. Okay, they've died. They've literally died. Do you understand? How many homicides, like I pointed out? These are your fault. If you're opposed to basic income, then that blood's on your head. You answer to God for being opposed to basic income. I'm for anything that's going to get the damn cat's skin. The sooner the better. And then we'll sort things out later, okay? It'll all come out in the wash if you think this thing is just a big welfare giveaway. Okay, but turn to God to have the right opinion about this. Whose planet is it? And how will it be when God is in control of the affairs of men? In this new age, the age to come, the one that we should be readying our hearts and minds, our spiritual souls, our bodies for this new world. I mean, this is such a beautiful promise. Did you know? I mean, this whole idea of the rapture, where that comes from in Scripture, is this idea that we're going to be changed in the twinkling of an eye, that we're good, that the mortal body is going to meet the immortal body. You understand these promises? And this is an eternal life, not in a crap hole, this hell hole that we've all been living in, but in a paradise that's perfect down to the last detail. Use your God-given imagination to imagine exactly what that place is going to be like. It's not a mystery. When you pray the Lord's Prayer, what are you praying? May God's will be done on earth like it's written it's going to be on earth, this planet. It's God's, and Christ is going to run it. You understand? The Spirit of God is in control, and what it's going to be like. It's not beyond your capacity to imagine and realize that world. And it starts in your heart and mind, and readying your own self for it, and then helping to ready other people for it. Okay, but we're going to have a level playing field. There's nobody with any advantage, upper hand, or exclusive privilege in that new realm, in that world of tomorrow that's to come. So how do you ready yourself? Well, free yourself. I mean, the truth will set you free. It's the only source of freedom I know, is that you know what? The only reason that I'm not as rich as the richest man on earth, and why we all aren't, is because of evil people that have been ruling the affairs of men for thousands of years. They can't resist. They love the money too much. This is the root. This is the seat. This is the cause of all the evil. This is the genesis for the fire that is just destroying humanity. Remember, and people are dying. They're dying. Those homeless people dying out in the cold, all these dubious wars, all that blood is on your hand and on your head, inadvertently. If you just aren't willing to get the cat skinned any way we can, okay? You're saying, no, let's leave it unskinned. I don't like that idea. It's just too much like a welfare giveaway, and who's going to pay for it? Well, let's have that discussion. What about a Tobin tax? They're trading on resources every day of the week out on Wall Street. So who do those resources belong to? Don't they ultimately belong to God? Nobody can own anything in perpetuity. We're all just passing through. So everything for humans is just usership. There is no real ownership, right? So it belongs to God. So what's unreasonable about a Tobin tax and paying it like that? Can you imagine what would happen to your taxes, how much they'd go down? So I'm a fiscal conservative. You'd see your taxes go, wait, how could they not go down? Do you understand how much more it costs to keep one guy in jail for a year for doing something that was stupid, that revolved around financial desperation? Do you understand? All these law enforcement agencies, they'd be glad that their business plummeted. I'm sure a lot of these people are good, decent, upright people. I like law enforcement by and large. I love cop shows. I probably should have been a cop. But you know what? I mean, they do a tough job that I probably couldn't do. Psychologically, I don't know how I have the constitution to do a job like that, but I appreciate law enforcement on all levels. And, they're like the angels of society. So it's good. Even the Bible confirms that, they're good, generally speaking. These are some of the cream of the crop, so to speak, the most decent, upright, righteous people out there. Of course, we know there's some bad apples, and some cops do some heinous things that makes it even worse that they had become cops and done that. They were so evil and did such evil things. But remember, cops have to follow rules and laws that they didn't make up. It's just like they say, it's their job to do it. But that's just one example of jobs that would start dissipating, And and waning because of prosperity. If we had universal prosperity, nobody was living in fear of having their basic essential human needs, the cost to exist, the cost to live, having their needs met. Okay, people aren't going to be so quick to go off to dubious wars. Okay, they're going to think it through. They're going to do their own research. They're going to say, yes, I'll go. I'll pay to go kick Hitler's butt or some other clown like that. But we don't want to get involved in these sketchy, dubious wars.